Moses described Dan as a lion's cub leaping from Bashan. While a lion symbolizes justice in the wilderness, a lion's cub leaping carelessly can harm others. Irenaeus explains the numeric designation of Antichrist by adding 600 Noah's age at the flood, 60 and 6 dimensions of Nebuchadnezzar's statue. The Antichrist is not a devil but the most wicked human, used by demons to mislead others. The term Antichrist comes from the Greek antichristos, meaning against Christ. In Syro-Aramaic, it's Dagala, or Al-Mashiach Dajjal, referring to the false Messiah or anti-Messiah. The Arabic term Dajjal originated from Syriac, and it was Christians, not Muslims, who first used the concept. As mentioned in 1 John 2:18, now many antichrists have come. Islam, with its teachings, is considered antichrist because it allegedly promotes a false Christ and doctrines rejecting the divinity of Jesus Christ. John's prophecy distinguishes a singular antichrist figure and a plural presence of antichrists throughout time. In singular form, John prophesies the coming of an antichrist figure who will rule, while in plural form, John explains to us that the spirit of this Antichrist has existed since ancient times. The singular form is reminiscent of prophecies about the Dajjal.
The snorting of his horses was heard from Dan. The whole land trembled at the sound of the neighing of his strong ones. For they are come, and have devoured the land, and all that is in it, the city, and those that dwell therein. Jeremiah 8:16.
Dan, mentioned in this context, is symbolized as a serpent and associated with judgment. Jacob's prophecy in Genesis 49:17 likens Dan to a serpent by the road, indicating satanic traits. Jesus rebuked the religious leaders of his time for their hypocrisy and formalities, calling them serpents and brood of vipers and questioning their escape from hell's punishment. Matthew 23:33. As Jacob prophesied during the period of Judges, the city of the tribe of Dan became a center for idol worship and a path for Satan. Throughout Israel, Moses described Dan as a lion's cub leaping from Bashan. While a lion symbolizes justice in the wilderness, a lion's cub leaping carelessly can harm others. The tribe of Dan received its portion in the Promised Land while Joshua was alive. However, after losing this land to the Amorites, they fled to the land of Lesem, an area unrelated to God's covenant, where idol worship flourished. In later times, the land of the tribe of Dan became a center for idol worship. It is not coincidental that the tribe of Dan is excluded from the sealed ones in Revelation 7:4-8. The book of Revelation mentions the 12 tribes of Israel and 12,000 individuals from each tribe. Revelation 7:4-8, which some interpreters consider symbolic in poetic writing style. In the New Testament era, tribes like Judah, Benjamin, and Levi still existed, but others had disappeared. The descendants of Joseph were divided into Ephraim and Manasseh. However, due to Ephraim's sins, his name was erased, similar to the tribe of Dan. The list in Revelation starts with the tribe of Judah, an unusual procedure for Jews who typically mention Reuben first. This deviation is because the Messiah came from the tribe of Judah. The tribe of Dan is omitted, while Manasseh is mentioned within Joseph. The inclusion of half of Manasseh ensures a total of 12, symbolically representing the tribes, with the understanding that tribes beyond Judah, Benjamin, and Levi were likely lost. It's noteworthy that the punishment for idol worship is eradication of the tribe's name from under heaven. This indicates removal from earthly existence, not necessarily from heavenly realms. Accordingly, Dan and Ephraim are not included in Revelation 7-4-8, which speaks of the 144,000 sealed from all the tribes of Israel. The Church Father Irenaeus, Haer 5.30, explains that in the early church's understanding, Antichrist was believed to emerge from the tribe of Dan. Irenaeus, a disciple of Polycarp, who, in turn, was a direct disciple of the Apostle John, discusses Antichrist in his work Adversus haereses, describing the eschatological adversary as an apostate and a robber craving divine honor despite servitude. Irenaeus reveals the cunning and deceptive nature of Antichrist. Irenaeus also implies Satan's authority over Antichrist, positioning him as an idol to be worshipped, connecting those who engage in abominations to serve Antichrist through this idol. Providing biblical evidence, Irenaeus outlines expected actions of Antichrist, such as sitting in the temple citing Daniel 8:12 and Matthew 20 for 15-17:21, tyranny linked to the little horn in Daniel 7, and unjust judgment based on Luke 18-2. Antichrist transitions from an anti-messianic agent to making political points predicting the division of the reigning empire, specifically referencing Rome. He cites Revelation 1:7-1:4 and the dream vision in Daniel 2 as supporting texts, arguing that these verses demonstrate God's righteous judgment, refuting those who deny it. Irenaeus notes to Thessalonians 10-12 and much of Revelation 13. He interprets the number of the beast in Revelation 13:18 as a symbol of the total duration of the world. Regarding the number 666, Irenaeus associates it with the utmost evil throughout history. He explains the numeric designation of Antichrist by adding 600 Noah's age at the flood, Genesis 7-6. 60 and 6 dimensions of Nebuchadnezzar's statue, Daniel 3-1. Concluding his discussion, Irenaeus attempts to approach the true meaning of the beast's number and Antichrist's identity. He mentions 3 names, where the letter count matches exactly with 666. The last name, associated with mythological giants, is detailed by Irenaeus. However, he refrains from further speculation, stating that the Holy Spirit chose not to reveal the name of Antichrist. Crucially, according to Irenaeus, this figure is not seen as an extremely cruel opponent of Christ, briefly mentioning that he will be thrown into the lake of fire at the second coming. See Revelation 20:10. Irenaeus also avoids depicting Antichrist, mimicking Jesus' earthly ministry as found in the Ascension of Isaiah or Apocalypse of Elijah, influenced by Daniel and to Thessalonians. Irenaeus presents the end-time adversary as one claiming not only messianic but also divine honors.